College Cast. It's the podcast all about keeping money in your pocket during your educational journey. And I'm your tour guide, host Money Michelle, navigating you to nuggets of information worth thousands of dollars. Great show coming our way today. A very special guest I cannot wait to introduce, Latanja Muhammad. We are going to have such a treat talking about a specific type of a college consultant. I'm going to let her describe it all to you. But a quick run through, you know I always do my Fantastic Five. It's going to be super fast today because I have to go ahead and get to Latanja. First off, make sure you always find that fee waiver. Find out if it's applicable to you. Fill out your Common App. Click Submit. Find your counselors for your transcript. Always super important to know who your counselors are because they have to help you through the process. Each and every school out here in America, sometimes in every single school district, well, I know here in Hillsborough County, several different ways that you can send your transcript. So always find your counselor because they are the ones who know how to do it the correct way. Next up, you got to forward those test scores. So that could either be through College Board, that could be through ACT.org. Whatever it is, make sure you go into the system and forward those test scores. Also, biggest thing, FAFSA. You have to do your FAFSA. Look at Bezel shaking his head. He's like, yup, yeah. Have you done yours yet? Yeah. We'll talk a little bit. The FAFSA is, we're going to get to that. I thought I was going to talk about it in February, but I think I'm going to wait till March. I'm still just holding off on a conversation about that. And of course, very specific to the state of Florida, I do want all of my students to know about the FFAA, which is your Florida Student Aid. So you want to fill out your FFAA as well, especially if you're in the running for Bright Future. So that is extremely important to my Florida students. So real quick, fee waivers, fill out the Common App, find your counselor for your transcripts, forward your test scores, FAFSA or FFAA. Remember, this is Money Michelle. This is a live show today. I'll give the date, which is December 10th, because we are going to have some shows that we're going to be rerunning. But as long as it's today, did I say December? Lord, help us. It is February 10th. So if it's February 10th, call in. Should you be watching this on a different day? Okay, we're not live, but for today, February 10th, we are live. You can call in at 813, stop laughing at me, 813-444-9588. You can also always email me at moneymichelle03, which is MoneyMichelle03 at gmail.com. Looks like our guest has called in. Latanja Muhammad, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Michelle. How are you?
I am great. I'm so excited to have you on the air. I know that you're a proud mother of a Howard and Harvard University graduate. You're a certified college funding specialist with College Planning Genius, and you're the author of the College Funding Playbook. I absolutely love your mission to send kids to school, but leave their money at home. Thank you again for joining us today. I have to start with this. What is a certified college funding specialist? CCFS.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show today, and I have to thank our mutual acquaintance, Gia, again, when I get a chance to see her.
Most definitely. Thank you, Gia.
So a certified college funding specialist is a designation that is acquired through the Association of Certified College Funding Specialists, ACCFS. And it's basically a course that and a certification that teaches advisors how to assist parents with navigating the application, admissions, financial aid processes. So it's a certification that I acquired through that entity. So maintaining my status allows me to carry that title.
I love the fact that you've gone that extra mile in regards to helping parents plan. I want to make sure I help everyone understand the difference between what you are and a typical college consultant or college coordinator. You have specialized training in regards to the funding aspects of college, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we go a little further, I think, than some advisors, and There's a wide variety of how college advisors work. Some strictly work on finances in the sense of helping parents to pay.
Mm.
We help parents to not pay.
I think I like yours a little bit better. But I think there's a really big secret to what you do. And I think the two words are start early.
Definitely. You hit the nail on the head. So when I meet administrators and college readiness advisors and people like that in school and even parents, and they want to invite us in to speak with students, they always say, oh, can you come in to our FAFSA night? Oh, can you come in and talk to my seniors? And what we're trying to get across to everyone who will listen is that for this process to really be successful, it's really so much better if parents will start earlier. So I'll come back to the administrator and say, I can speak with your seniors, but I would really love to speak to your incoming freshmen at freshman orientation, along with their parents.
Yes, I can certainly understand that. And I really talk a lot about that, too, on College Cash in regards to you have to start early with keeping your grades up, making sure that you're studying for the SAT, making sure you even know to take the SAT. But for you, it can even go a little bit earlier than that when it comes to just keeping your finances together so that you have the best opportunities for the typical funding that you're looking for that doesn't cost as much money.
Definitely, because when parents actually ask us when they should start planning for college, we actually say when you see the blue line on the stick.
Yep, I love that.
And that's when you should start saving, and that's when you really should start thinking about it, because life happens, and you're looking up, and your child is a senior. So definitely start saving throughout their lives, if you're able to. But then when we start to really get into the nitty-gritty planning, and like you mentioned, keeping up grades and test scores, we dig into that with freshmen in high school. But definitely start planning.
I think
from a financial standpoint early.
That is such great advice. And, for those of you listening, if you don't know where that blue line is, that means when you're getting that baby, when it's coming, that's when you need to start planning. So quickly, tell me 3 things, or even if it's just one thing, but tell me at least 3 things that, when you're having that baby, what's the first thing you should think about for college planning? Because you just realize you're having a baby. So you're not really thinking much about college. But fortunately, I was advised that at a very early age, and I did start thinking about college. As soon as I knew Robbie was coming, we were thinking about, okay, how are we going to pay for this boy to go to school? So what are some ways to advise parents in those very first couple of years of their child's life?
Well, I think, of course, we already covered the first one, starting to save. And then I think another one that was really important to me is I don't think it's ever too early to start grooming your child to be a learner and an analytical thinker. My sons, by the time they got to school, they could already read. They already knew their numbers. They already knew their colors. They knew how to write. They knew their home address. I mean, they were ready. They were not dependent upon the school system to teach them the fundamentals. They had those fundamentals when they got there. So learning was very easy for them because from the time that they were babies, they were always learning. We were learning through play. They always had educational toys, in my bag that I carried around when they were toddlers. There were always things to do, little puzzles, little books, little seek and find games. So getting your child to start being a thinker and an analytical person and a reader is really important. So I always loved to read, and it was my goal to make my children into bookworms, and I did, because reading is so important no matter what you want to do. It's so important to be a strong reader. And I think a lot of students struggle with the standardized tests because their reading skills are not necessarily up to par for those tests. They might be very intelligent. They might have a lot of skills and talents and abilities, but reading is really important. And a lot of people don't have the reading and comprehension skills that they probably should have. So definitely saving, being strong readers, just making reading a part of life, not just what the school requires.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would also say start looking very, very early for their talents and abilities.
Yes.
Start putting them in things when they're small to see what they love, see what they grasp, and just cling to early, whether it's music, playing certain instruments, whether it's certain sports or seeing certain physical abilities that they have. Seeing, we used to go to hands-on science museums all the time when my sons were little, and they started swimming when they were young. So I think those three things are really three good things to start with, and because if you can discover their talents and abilities early, then by the time they get to high school, they can be very accomplished in something. They're not just starting to play instruments in high school, or just starting to dance in high school, or
play a sport,
even debating and things like that. They've already gotten some skills, and they can just really shine in high school, and that can carry a lot of weight with the college application.
So many things that you've just said there that I like to say that as your College Cash tour guide through your educational journey, I want to navigate people to nuggets of information. You just gave about 12 nuggets in those last couple of sentences. So I want to break down a couple of them, and even my mind is spinning all around because there's so many different things to comment on what you said. I'm going to start with in regards to the arts, the dance, the theater, because our last show last week, we talked specifically about an art scholarship that's worth $2,500 that spans across 6 different categories in regards to the arts. So being able to start your children early in something that they like, whether it's theater, whether it's music, whether it's instruments, whether it's speech, like you said, in debate. There's so many other things other than just sports. So I love that you were able to confirm what we were talking about last week. I also think it is extremely important, and Ms. LaTondra, please say this again, help everyone understand that when your children, and my children as well, I have to thank my Gigi, my mom definitely facilitated all of this with my children because I was at work. How important, it is so important for your kids to go into kindergarten knowing, say those things again that you just said, the things that they need to already know going into kindergarten.
Yes, I think it's important, and I also have to give credit to my mother who was with me, who helped me raise my sons for a good part of their lives. But I think it's important if our children already know at least their alphabet. Mm-hmm. They know how to read some basic sight words. When my sons were little, I had little index cards on everything in the house, and we would walk around the house, and I'd have them spell refrigerator, cabinet, sofa.
Good Lord, refrigerator? You didn't even start with cat and dog? You went straight to refrigerator? I can't even spell that right now.
So, at least knowing some basic sight words so that when you get to kindergarten, that level of reading, they're ready for it, and they're ready to just continue to excel from there. So reading, basic numbers, basic counting. Mm-hmm. They should know how to count. They should know their left hand from their right hand. They should know their colors, right?
And see, everything that you're talking about, because so many people will use the excuse of, well, they don't have any extra money. It doesn't take, and that you're always working, but it doesn't take a lot of time to teach your children 1 through 10, or just your colors, or simply, like you mentioned, labeling things around the house and having them, when they're walking with you, when you're cleaning, when they're cleaning, whatever, going over those words. So I think I'm getting from my producer that we're actually about to go to break. And LaTondra, when we come back, I want to make sure we put up your QR code so that we can talk specifically about your book, because every single thing that we're going to be talking about today, I don't want you to panic and think you have to remember it. She's, of course, written a book that has all the information in it. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Old school.
Nobody loves me better. Makes me happy. Makes me feel
Today's R&B.
magic in the air.
With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer. I got the man to do the legwork for ya. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. It's a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
In Touch Radio is smooth soul.
Rocking your radio on the sounds of soul.
Playing your favorite R&B. In Touch Radio.
Hello and welcome back to College Pass. This is the podcast all about keeping money in your pocket during your educational journey. I am your host, Money Michelle, navigating you to nuggets of information worth thousands of dollars. And boy, do we have someone who is navigating us today. Latanja Muhammad, not only is she, of course, a certified college funding specialist with College Planning Genius, but she is also the author of The College Funding Playbook. Her mission is to send your child to college and leave your money at home. Latanja, thanks so much for coming back with us. I know that we started at the very beginning of literally birth for your children, but I do want to make sure that everyone knows how to find your book. Once again, the name of it is The College Funding Playbook, and we have the QR code up on the screen. There we go. Latanja, tell me a little bit about the book and why you wrote it.
Okay, so yeah, thanks again, Michelle. This is going really well. So again, the College Funding Playbook, and the subtitle is 7 Proven Methods for Funding Your Child's Education Without Breaking the Bank. So that's the whole send your child to college, leave your money at home piece. And the reason I wrote the book is because I believed that I could deliver the message to more parents through a book. It's, we do seminars and webinars here in Michigan and throughout the country. We've got clients, but we're still not able to reach everyone. And we still find that families have, what we just talked about, a lot of families and even school administrators still have the idea that the time to start thinking about which college to go to and how much it's going to cost and how are we going to pay for it. That's being deferred until senior year. Mm-hmm. And so I really just wanted to get the message out so parents could have some guidance sooner than senior year. There are some landmines and little traps that I talk about in this book that parents run into. And the unfortunate part is that they run into these while they're knee-deep in the process. After their child has already committed to a college, they find certain things out. And it's happening quite often too late to do a whole lot about it. Then you just have to live with it. Then you have to make other decisions that are more reactionary, right, rather than planned. So I'm hoping that the book will help families to see more things ahead of time, and they'll have more favorable outcomes.
And I'm really happy to have you on the show today. Today is February 10th. I'm making sure that I say the date so that everyone can understand we are live today. LaTondra, we plan on replaying the show probably in March, but for today, February 10th, if anyone wants to call in, we have quite the professional on with us. The number is 813-444-9588. And speaking of the 813, obviously we're in Tampa Bay, but where are you based out of?
Michigan.
Well, we have you all the way live from Michigan. Do you help people virtually, or do you stick mainly to families in the Michigan area?
We do, of course, primarily we're here in Michigan, but we do have clients in other states as well. We've helped families in Florida and Texas and Georgia and other states. So we are able to deliver assistance to families virtually.
So take me through your process. If a family's listening, if a parent, if they're listening and they like the fact that you focus on funding, not necessarily just coordinating which college, where you're going to go and all of those things, which is of course important, and you do that as well, but you really talk specifically about funding. What is the process like when obviously they'll give you a call. How does that work?
Okay, so I'll try to make this as brief as possible, but still.
Hey, we got a whole hour. Take your time.
So I'll give the example of, let's say an organization says, hey, why don't you do a webinar for our organization? We've done we've done presentations for Rotary clubs and United Way and schools and churches. So let's just say a parent sees that invitation and they RSVP and join the webinar, right? So they join the webinar, listen to the information. After every webinar, we offer a complimentary consultation to each family who's interested in talking a little bit more about their specific situation and see if they would be a good fit for us and if we would be a good fit for them and if we can really help them. And usually, even if we're not able to help a family because we can't help everyone, we are able to give some tips anyway. Always. There's always something that a family can learn, even if they don't move forward with us. So once the family moves forward with us, they pick one of our packages. So we work with the families from two sides. We work from the student side. We call that side student positioning. And from the family household income side, we call that financial positioning.
Okay.
So the first thing that a student does in the student positioning process is they take assessments. It's 4 assessments that probably take about 20 to 25 minutes. And these assessments help the students to uncover their strengths and weaknesses, values, work habits, and things of that nature. And it also helps the students to zero in on career paths that are most suitable for them as a person from an holistic standpoint. That's the first step because quite often, as we all know, a lot of students get to college and change their major.
Right. And that can be costly sometimes. That can be expensive.
And it delays graduation, which makes the college cost more expensive. And quite often, students eventually don't finish after changing their major a couple times. So if you really have a good idea of the career that you're interested in, you'll probably have a better shot of picking the correct major the first time.
And LaTondra, I want to stop you real quick. Bezel, I have the computer up on her site, so I just wanted everyone, as she's talking about the process, it's all through the collegeplanningGenius.com site, right, LaTondra?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. So I have that site up, and I'm going to be kind of clicking through things so that people can get an idea of your team and who you all are and what you do. So I love the fact that that we talk about the different things, the saving strategies, the college selection. Okay, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to make sure everyone knew we have the site up. So you were telling about your beginning process, where the first thing the students take an assessment to kind of even see where they're at.
That's correct. And so, of course, once you know what your major should be, then that plays a major role in which colleges you select. especially if your major is more specialized. Of course, every college has business, right? You know, every college has an English major, but if a student has an interest that's a little more specialized, you know, marine biology or, you know, zoology, every college doesn't have every major. So then we get into the college selection process, starting with that criteria about who the student is and their interests, major interests. We have a system that will produce a list of colleges that fit the student, because the goal is for the student to pick the college that will be a best fit for them, academically, socially, demographically, geographically, and of course financially. And so the system that we use helps to identify colleges that fit certain criteria that go into the system after the assessment. And of course, the student and the parents, the schools that they had in their minds also go into the system, and then we're able to research all of these colleges through this proprietary software and then begin to zero in on the colleges that are going to be the best fit. And so an example might be if a student, they build a college list. Let's say that college list has 100 colleges that the system eventually spits out based on all of their criteria. But of course, we don't intend for the students to apply to 100 colleges. We intend for them to apply to maybe 8 to 10, right? 10 to 12. And so our system helps the students to begin to eliminate colleges based on certain criteria. For example, 4-year graduation rates. All colleges don't do as good of a job of graduating students on time. Part of that is the college, part of that is the students, but we look at the history of the colleges because part of that is based on financial aid. Part of it is based on the resources available to the student to assist them. Part of it is based on scheduling. Sometimes a student is delayed because a course is not offered every semester, right? So some students are stuck in school because of one course that is not offered in the semester that should be their last semester, right?
That
so
must
a lot that goes into. So that's just one example, 4-year graduation rates. Another criteria might be merit aid. Let's say a student is a very high achieving student. And so our system will line up all of the colleges and show what all of the colleges in their list typically award for merit aid. So a high achieving student who has colleges on their list that are only awarding $2,500 in merit aid, and the college costs
$100,000. Right.
Then that student can look at the list quickly and say, "Oh, this college is not very generous with merit aid, and I'm a really good student." The same thing with need-based aid. The system will show how colleges meet financial need, and people are very surprised to find out that all colleges don't meet need the same way. And you can look at 2 colleges. One might have a $65,000 price tag. The other might have a $30,000 price tag. And when it's all said and done, the family just might pay more out of pocket for the $30,000 college. Right? So the system is there to help families start to eliminate colleges and get down to the best fit list.
And that's why it's so important for people to have the knowledge and the understanding, or to have at least done the research or reached out to someone to make sure that they're really analyzing the award letters. I sometimes hear kids that are so excited they got a $25,000 scholarship, but the school's $75,000 a year. So it's like, well, it's great that you got that scholarship, but where are you going to get the rest? So before we get too excited about that, let's look at other options where you won't have such a huge gap in the money that you need. So tell me a little bit more about who all can use or who all needs your services. I'm going to click back on to the back of your book, at least I thought I was, so that we can actually see the list of people who need your services. It says a college funding playbook. This book is for you if you are a parent who, and then you have a million different check marks.
Because it's almost everybody. If your child wants to go to college, right? You just might need our assistance, or you might need some of the guidance that's in this book. There are some parents in this country for whom money is not an issue at all. And so they can pay. They don't mind paying. They feel it is their duty to pay, and that other families who are more needy should be the ones that benefit from awards and aid and scholarships and grants. Mm-hmm. There are other families that are affluent families who still feel like if I can use the system to my benefit, I will do that. And there is a quote that we always use that we got from U.S. News and World Report years ago that says, even though financial aid was intended for those who need it the most, it actually goes to those who know the most about the process.
That is so important. And I'm assuming that's why your mission, of course, is to send children to college, but to leave their money at home, because you're exactly right. And it's so frustrating because a lot of the families who need the FAFSA the most don't even know about it, or don't know how to fill it out, or don't understand the $7,000 that the Pell Grant can give them, versus families who may not even qualify for the Pell Grant, but they understand the financial aid process. They understand that test optional is not really optional. They understand how to maximize the use of various merit scholarships. They're the ones who are getting the most financial aid, and they may not even necessarily, everyone needs it because nobody wants to spend all their money on school. But there are some who need it even more, but they just don't understand the process.
Exactly. And it's interesting. I thank you for mentioning the FAFSA, because it is very important. And I think a lot of families, even the affluent families, don't always realize that the FAFSA is required for the students to get any kind of award, whether it's an athletic scholarship, whether it's merit-based aid, need-based aid. The FAFSA is required. Mm-hmm. So you might have a student from a wealthier family, but perhaps they're getting merit aid because they're an excellent student. The FAFSA is required. Even if you don't have demonstrated financial need, the FAFSA is required for the for any aid, but even for that student with just the merit aid is required.
Yes. So, LaTondra, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. I think we can definitely talk a lot more about FAFSA and, of course, financial aid. And I saw something that's really specific to the Detroit area. It seems a little bit like our Bright Futures in Florida. So we'll touch on those things when we come back. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
You've been injured. You deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
In Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
Hello and welcome back to College Cash. It's the podcast all about keeping money in your pocket during your educational journey. And I'm your tour guide, host, Money Michelle, navigating you to nuggets of information worth thousands of dollars. And we are talking today with Latanja Muhammad. She is a proud mother of a Howard and a Harvard graduate. She's a certified college funding specialist with College Planning Genius. She's also the author of the College Funding Playbook. Her mission is to send your child to college and leave your money at home. Welcome back, Latanja. I know that before the break, we started with FAFSA. It's our most fun. I call it a four-letter word right now. I know it's really not, but I'm sure you understand why we are all calling it that right about now. Why is the FAFSA so important?
So the FAFSA it's a free application for federal student aid, right? And so the FAFSA collects financial information from families, and then the Department of Education has calculations that will determine a parent's student aid index. So prior to this current FAFSA, it was called the EFC, Expected Family Contribution, but they changed the name this year to Student Aid Index. I think there was misunderstanding about what the EFC meant based on the name. But it's basically the same thing, though. The Student Aid Index is a number that is calculated, and it is sent to all of the colleges and universities that a student lists on the FAFSA that they're interested in attending. What this number is, it basically represents to colleges and universities how much the family should reasonably expect it to be able to contribute. However, it does not mean that it's all that the family would have to contribute, because the colleges use the SAI to determine how they will meet a student's need. So, for example, if a student is applying to a college that has a $50,000 cost of attendance and their family has a $20,000 student aid index, the calculation for the college will be $50,000 minus $20,000, and $30,000 is the result, and that is the family's demonstrated need. At that point, the college or university follows their policies and procedures to meet that need. Some colleges will meet 56% of your need, or 64% of your need, or 90% of your need, or even 100% of your need. And then how they meet need is important, because they might meet a portion of that need with free money through grants. They might throw in work study as part of that, and some colleges will throw in loans also.
So
there are some colleges out there who will only offer loans for your unmet need,
and we stay away from those.
There are others who will not include any loans in their offer.
So I want to talk about the two totally different spectrums and see if you agree with me. I like to say that if you qualify for the Pell Grant and you are smart, there is absolutely no reason whatsoever, no obstacle that you shouldn't be able to overcome where you can't go to school. I really think that if you qualify for that Pell Grant, you've gotten good grades, you have good test scores, there's money out there for you to be able to go to school. Would you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. But if you pick the right school.
Correct. That is always the case.
Right school, if you pick a school that does not have the money to award you for your brilliance and your efforts, right? Picking the right school is so important, that college selection process. And we had a student who picked a college, and they were a very sharp student, good grades, very, very good grades, very good test scores. This student had a 4.7 GPA.
I'm worried about where this story is going.
This student picked their dream school and didn't apply anywhere else.
Oh, no.
And got waitlisted.
For the dream school?
waitlisted with a 4.7.
And then
On
because
the other hand, we had another student with very good grades, very good test scores, picked a school that didn't have very much money, and their family had hardly no money. They're, a lower, definitely a lower income family, and the student had a shortfall that they couldn't overcome. So picking the right school,
and
picking a variety of schools.
that's exactly what I was about to
picking
say.
the right school.
That's what seems to be so incredibly important as well. I like the fact that you said that through you all's process, you help students identify a minimum of 8 to 10 different schools that they do need to go ahead and apply for. I love the fact that if you are economically challenged, your Common App will allow you to apply to as many schools as you want to without any additional cost. You're able to send your College Board scores, your SAT scores, without any additional cost. Do you talk to your families about that and how to apply for those particular services?
Yes, in our process, there are workshops and webinar forums where the students are given guidance and coaching specifically on the Common App as well as other apps and essays and things of that nature. So, yes, they are coached on that. They get the link and when to apply. All of that is a part of the program.
So I love the fact that you mentioned when to apply. I've got kids out here who are they're just now realizing they need to apply. I'm like, what were you doing at the beginning of your senior year? Tell me about for me, one of the most important deadlines out there for students is November 1st. And for your Florida schools, some of them, it's October 15th. So I'm sure you impart that same urgency to your seniors to apply early.
Oh, yes. The deadlines are, and in the software that they use, every college on their list, the deadlines, all of that is right there in their face. And it's like, it's time to apply here, it's time to apply here, it's time to apply here. And even with the two families that I mentioned to you, these families came to us after they had these shocking results. And what we had to help them do is find colleges with rolling admissions.
And rolling days for merit scholarship.
Right. So we still had to, we just gave them some guidance. We didn't actually take them on as clients. It was so late. But we did give them some guidance on finding more colleges to apply to that have rolling admissions. So some of the students that are late and still haven't applied, there are still colleges out there with deadlines approaching, and they can still apply. But, of course, they've missed out on a lot of other opportunities to apply for this round, for the upcoming school year.
And I know that I just mentioned students who are economically challenged, but very, very bright students, and the importance of the FAFSA for them. But I want to go to the other end of the spectrum that you mentioned before the break. Families who think they don't need to fill it out because they know they're not going to qualify for any type of a Pell Grant or any type of federal assistance. Why is that the furthest from the truth, and that everyone needs to fill out the FAFSA? I'm so glad to have someone who can help me sing this song to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, any sort of award, even a small award, requires the FAFSA to be on file. And so even families that don't believe that they will get financial assistance should still fill out the FAFSA. And another thing, because the FAFSA is required every year, family circumstances change from year to year sometimes. There might be a divorce, there might be an adoption, there might be a job change, a career change, income change that impacts income. So it's important for families to not only fill it out freshman year, but every year that the student is in college, they need to complete the FAFSA.
And keep in mind, for families, if you're listening out there, we're talking about your lower income, your economically challenged families. Of course, you want to fill it out because you could potentially qualify for the Pell Grant. In most of the community colleges here in Florida, if you get the full Pell Grant, it will completely pay for an associate's degree. So you're able to at least go to your community colleges, get that associate's degree, and then depending on how well you do, there's opportunity for more scholarships for you to transfer to a 4-year college. So definitely fill out the FAFSA. For those of you who are middle or higher income, maybe you don't qualify for a Pell Grant, but you still want to be able to capitalize on merit money or capitalize on other scholarships that are out there. So fill out the FAFSA. The last one, LaTanja, that I fight
Some
with
colleges,
people.
Just to interject one more thing, Michelle,
Mhm.
some colleges will offer students a freshman scholarship. So every student that gets accepted as a freshman will get something.
Right.
There's a FAFSA on file.
Yep.
Or a diversity scholarship. I know that there are some changes in the affirmative action and whatnot, but some colleges will offer a diversity scholarship.
Just
or
for
a
filling the
leadership
thing out.
scholarship. So definitely, no matter what your economic situation is, it's a great idea. It is necessary to complete the FAFSA.
And I think families who have students who are getting sports scholarships as opposed to
Yes.
Pell Grants or academics, sometimes they think they're immune from the FAFSA. That's just not true. It doesn't matter
Oh, no.
what kind of grant, what kind of scholarship, whatever you're doing, fill the thing out. Why do you think that? Well, here's my opinion. I think that families struggle with that so much because back in the day when we were going to college, the FAFSA was a little bit more optional.
You know, I really don't remember if it was optional or not, or if it just wasn't as emphasized. I honestly don't remember. I remember filling it out. I remember filling it out when I was in college, way back then. And like you said, when you first started talking about it, it was like a 4-letter word. Every year when I had to fill it out for my sons, it was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the most fun thing to do, but it's
But it's
a box
needed.
that needs to be checked. So
Right.
we just need to suffer through it and get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Depending upon the package that parents have with us, we actually prepare a FAFSA key for families. We call it a key because we help them to make sure that the information is completed correctly.
Mm.
There are a lot of errors on the FAFSA.
Right.
It was estimated, especially the old FAFSA. Now we'll have to see how this new one that just came out. It is simplified, but you still have to put in pretty much the same financial information you put in before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But as a service for certain families, we provide the key, so we make sure that what information should go where is in the proper place, that what should be disclosed is disclosed, and what does not need to be disclosed is not disclosed, so that families are not under-awarded. So we provide this key, and then they can complete the FAFSA using the key so that they put everything in properly.
And see, that's
would help.
another reason why some families may want to work with people like you, people with the college planning genius and other types of coordinators or consultants. Going to college and applying to college, whether you're listening to my show, College Cash, where I try to give you as much information as I can throughout this particular podcast, or whether you choose to work with someone, the goal is to get help. Don't do it alone. It should be a group effort between a family, a student, and someone else that knows what they're doing. And, I say that because many people think that it's the school counselor's job. And that's just, I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think that they have the time. I think their caseload is too big. So do you agree that families really need to rely on an additional source other than just the school counselor? Obviously, the school counselor is important because they help students figure out, the transcripts and some of the recommendations, but families need to have an additional source.
I definitely agree, very strongly agree. And a lot of schools, the counselor or the teacher who has taken over the college readiness aspects and putting on the FAFSA nights, it's another hat for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
their main hat.
Formalized training. It is not what they, it initially entered into education to do. And counselors are very busy with everything that counselors traditionally do, with working with the teachers and working with the students and the behavioral issues and the health issues and things of that nature of the students. They have a lot on their plate. And most students really don't even get enough face time with their counselors to get all of the guidance that they need. There's not enough time in the year for every student to get enough time with their counselor. So one of the things I'm working on is actually getting schools to purchase the book, providing workshops for the staff so that they can learn how to help better guide the students with the book as a baseline.
Oh, that's great. And let's put the QR code. I want to go ahead and put the QR code back on the screen so that anyone who's listening can understand, A, what the book is about, and B, the best way to order it. Obviously it's through Amazon. You can put your phone up right now and you can scan the QR code and it should take you directly to Amazon and to the link that you'll need to get to in order to purchase the book. And remember, the book is actually all about, it's the College Funding Playbook, 7 proven methods for funding your child's education without breaking the bank. So, obviously these proven methods, how did you prove these methods? Go ahead and tell me the secret.
Well, we have data. The proprietary software that we use and the team of counselors that we use that work with the families, we're part of a nationwide network. And families working in our network were offered around, the 2023 numbers, families were offered an additional close to $78,000 on average in additional free money. You mentioned award letters. We briefly talked about those. We have an award appeal process where we actually appeal the award letters. We don't pay the award letters as this is the law, this is what we have to pay. We help families to appeal those. And on average, we get about $4,800 in additional money. We actually had a family who got $7,500 in additional money recently through the appeals process.
And so that's the way where you're really, really different in regards to, what I've heard from most college consultants and most college coordinators, the fact that you are a certified college funding specialist and you go after those appeals letters. Just because they said you're getting $5,000, you don't have to accept that. It's a negotiation, and you're able to help people get more money. You mentioned that on average your families get around $78,000 more dollars, or what was that number you said?
So in free money, the families that go through our process are getting an average of around $78,000 in free money offers from colleges that they most likely would not have gotten had they not used the process. And then the award letter appeal process results in an average of around $4,800 more dollars on the back end.
So my next question for you is about my child and medical school, because to heck with this show right now, I need to figure out how to find this medical school money. Do you all do that too?
Right now, our focus is on undergrad. The graduate school, the advanced degrees, they have a totally different process.
I'm finding that.
Not gotten into yet. Yes, and I have an aspiring medical student as well. My Harvard grad is preparing for the MCAT right now. So we're in the same boat with the.
Well, hey, we're going to need to crack this code. I think we've kind of sniffed out the trail for the undergrad, but we need to work together and crack this med school code, because from everything that I've been researching and what I've been looking at, it is very hard out there to find, and that's what's so confusing. They talk about the shortage of doctors. We have plenty of kids who major in biology. They want to go to med school. They take the MCAT. Either A, they can't get into a med school, or B, they for sure can't pay for it. And I'm not interested in having my child get $300,000 in loans. So it will be great when, the two of us, we can work together and create another show called College Cash.
Yeah, that's another topic. And loans, that's a whole other show as well.
Oh, gosh.
But I do want to add this, though, Michelle. Thank you for putting up the QR code for the book. If anyone out there is a part of an organization that works with young people and has like a college readiness component to your program, or if you're affiliated with a school, I offer bulk pricing for the book. So I don't encourage anyone wanting to buy bulk size orders of 25 or more to use Amazon. I can be reached at info@collegeplanninggenius.com. Actually, just use Latanja at collegeplanninggenius.com. Latanja, Latonja, at collegeplanninggenius.com for inquiries about bulk orders. You can get a discount.
So I'm going to ask Bezel. I know that he mentioned that the screen from my screen has a little bit of a glare, but are we able to go back to my screen, Bezel, to try to show this little QR code down here in the bottom? Because this is the back of the book. The QR code that we're showing now, maybe I can make it a little bit bigger and try to scoot up some. This particular QR code goes directly to collegeplanninggenius.com, and that's where you'll be able to find Latanja's information specifically, because we love for you to, of course, order her book through Amazon, but if you want to order in bulk, because maybe you're a PTA or you're a church or you're a nonprofit or you just got a whole lot of friends and you want to give this out as Christmas gifts, feel free to contact Latanja. Say your email address again, and if there is any particular phone number.
Right, so it's Latanja, spelled L as in Larry, ATONJA, at collegeplanninggenius.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for being on the show. Real quick, I always like to end my show with what I call the Fantastic Five, and tell me if you like these. So I always say the Fantastic Five that everyone needs to know in regards to applying to school. Folks have to look for that fee waiver. First and foremost, if you're on free and reduced lunch, find your fee waiver, because that is what can give you access to applying to all of the different schools you want to on the Common App, sending all of your test scores for free through College Board or ACT.org. So I always start, Latanja, with making sure everyone knows that there are fee waivers. And I'm sure you probably know of even more ways to find fee waivers for college applications that don't involve free and reduced lunch. The next thing, of course, fill out your Common App, find your counselor for transcripts, forward those test scores, and we've talked extensively about the FAFSA. Oh, one more quick thing before we go. I talked about the FFAA for Florida, which is the Florida Bright Futures Scholarship. What do you all have in Michigan?
Okay, so it's a promise program, and that's one of the chapters in the book. We had in Detroit the Detroit Promise, and there are other promise programs in Michigan, and these are basically tuition programs that for residents of certain cities and attendees of certain schools can get free tuition. And the way they're set up is any monies that are left over, any shortfalls for tuition that are not covered by other sources such as Pell Grants, SEOG grants, other scholarships, these promise programs will pick up the slack and pay the rest of the tuition. And that's the last dollar type of promise program, which is what most of them are, last dollar funding.
Okay, and so that's a little bit different than Florida. Florida is just, if you meet the certain criterias with your grades and your test scores, they pay your full tuition. But I like the fact that there are other opportunities where it's the last dollar. Whatever the heck it is, as long as you can get those bills paid, that's the most important thing. So it looks like we are almost out of time. Well, it looks like we're totally out of time, but I definitely still, Latanja, want to let you have the last word. Are there any other final comments that you would like to give to our families watching?
I don't think so at this moment. We would need another show.
Here's a final word. Order the book.
Order the book. Visit us at collegeplanninggenius.com. Reach out to me directly at Latanja at collegeplanninggenius.com. And thank you so much again, Michelle, for having me on the show. I really enjoyed it.
Perfect. Have a great day. And I have to say thanks to God, my crew, and all of you for a great show. Toodaloos. We will be playing this in March, but you can still email me if you do have any questions. MoneyMichelle03@gmail.com. Toodaloos.